If you watched my last video, if you didn't, you should. You now have the processes to make more money with your landscape lighting business, but now what do you do with all that profit? I'm going to break down exactly what to do with your profit so that you can scale your business without scaling your time. Number one, reinvesting. Number two, recruiting and hiring. And number three, improving company culture. Hi, I'm Ryan Lee, and I started my landscape lighting business in 2007. Listen, at first it wasn't easy, but I didn't care. I was an entrepreneur and I was doing what I wanted to do. But after a few years, it really did start to take a toll on my relationships with my family and my friends. And I realized that I've got to change something. I decided to double down on my business. I ended up hiring the right people, building the right systems and processes, which allowed me to build a multi-million-dollar lighting business. In 2019, I was able to sell that business, and I had so many people reaching out asking me how I was able to do such crazy numbers with just landscape lighting. So in 2020, I launched Landscape Lighting Secrets, which helps landscape lighting business owners gain freedom from their business by helping them double their profits. So this is the first thing I recommend doing with your profits. Number one, reinvesting into marketing and advertising. Listen, I meet a lot of people and I ask them how they're getting leads consistently. For whatever reason, I hear a lot of people saying that, I get all my business by word of mouth, and they're almost wearing it as a badge of honor. And while it's great to get leads by word of mouth, it's very unpredictable and it's really hard to scale your business if that's all you're relying on. Instead of waiting for leads that might come in from word of mouth, if you'll invest in your brand and a highly targeted advertising strategy, you'll be able to get leads on a consistent basis. I'm not a huge fan of franchises, but one thing I really like is that they make their franchisees invest usually at least $50,000 their very first year into advertising. This guarantees success out of the gate. By reinvesting your profits into a marketing mix, which is a handful of different marketing verticals such as Facebook, Google, direct mail, email, and even referral partners, you can build your business to have consistent lead flow and not just hope that you get a call from word of mouth or one of your yard signs. The second thing I recommend using your profits for is recruiting and hiring. So what do you look for when you're trying to hire somebody? If you're like me, you typically want to hire someone with a skill set, right? And I've done that in the past, and unfortunately it didn't work out. So I recommend actually not hiring on skill set, but hiring on core values. So is the person trustworthy? Are they a good communicator? What types of things match the core values that you have in your company? Don't worry if they've never installed landscape lighting. I mean, seriously, who has? It's a lot easier to teach someone how to install landscape lighting than it is to teach them how to show up on time to work every day. Am I right? So how do you find your next rock star team member? Listen, it's probably not going to be from a Google ad or an Indeed ad that says, looking for a experienced landscape lighting technician. Okay, we've talked about this. They're not out there. Instead of looking for someone with experience, again, look for someone that matches your culture. So start looking at places that you frequent on a regular basis. I'm talking a server at a restaurant. Where do you get your oil changed? Who cuts your hair? These people that are already working are the people that you want to work for you. One of my top secret places to find new recruits is 7 a.m. at the gas stations. There's so many working crews there, and they do have experience in the trades. So just walk up to them and find out if any of them or their friends are looking for a job. Hiring the right people can make or break your business. Knowing who you're looking for when hiring helps you make the right decisions and avoid any huge mishaps. In the past, I always focused so much on marketing and sales, and I overlooked my employees. And listen, when you do the math, the average lifetime value of a client is not as high as you might think versus the average lifetime value of an employee. So let's take an average landscape lighting job of $10,000, and maybe that client refers you someone, maybe they move to a nicer house and spend another $20,000 with you later on. The average lifetime value of a client might be as high as $50,000. Well, let's figure out what the average lifetime value of a team member or an employee is. Let's say you're doing $1 million and it takes 5 employees to be able to accomplish that. Well, now you know that an average lifetime value of a client, at least in 1 year, is $200,000, over 4 times what the lifetime value of a client is. So it's important to not lose focus on just advertising for new clients. You should also always be advertising for new team members. The third thing you should invest your profits into is building company culture. A recent study says that 65% of people stay with a company because of company culture. Gone are the days of just working for a check. Listen, people want to be treated how you want to be treated. They want opportunities to stay with you for a long time. When they decide to come work for you, they actually make the decision to spend more time with you than they do with their friends and family. So it's important to make it a comfortable environment. Imagine inviting two friends over to your house. One of them sits on a rock hard chair and one of them gets to sit on the comfortable sofa. Who do you think is going to come back next week to hang out? So, how do you improve company culture? Well, it starts with proper training and not just having them jump in your truck and shadow you for the next week. After that, it's work lunches and company events, places that allow you to actually get to know them and build a relationship so your company is less transactional. Most businesses I see view company culture as an optional step that they'll work on one day. I suggest instead of viewing company culture as an expense, view it as an investment. Remember the lifetime value of a team member that we just talked about? Schedule time to plan what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and then actually go do it. By building company culture, you're giving your team members an environment that they want to show up to and work hard in. By reinvesting into marketing and advertising, recruiting and hiring, and building company culture, you can finally gain freedom from your business and go to work because you want to, not because you have to. If you're looking for help actually implementing these processes, check out the link below. My company, Landscape Lighting Secrets, has helped tons of people just like you go from working 10 to 12 hours a day to actually just working on the things that they enjoy within their company.